The latest in my People Matter podcast series features none other than Norda Mullen. Norda, who is of course known for her flute work with the Moody Blues for the best part of 20 years being with them, also played with Randy Newman on major film scores, and more recently developing her own solo career. She has a big gig coming up at the Half Moon Putney on the 21st September, the opening act being our good friend Jim Bernard and his band Quinny and Company, who opened for us last time we played that venue, so we're looking forward to that. And for those of you who are not so familiar with Norda's solo work, here are a few snippets of some of the great tracks she's recorded. Take it away, Norda. Today's guest in the latest of my People Matter podcast is Norda Mullen. Not only happens to be my wife, but an amazing musician in her own right. And we thought it was high time we got Norda onto this series of podcasts. So thank you, Norda, for your time.
Thank you, Calvin.
We're going to cover a whole load of issues, but first and foremost, you've got a big gig coming up in Putney.
Yes, a big gig at the Half Moon in Putney.
That's a venue you like. You've played it quite a few times now. Why? What is it about the Half Moon you like?
It's got a nice feel. It's got a really nice vibe to it, and it's not that big, so there's not a huge pressure of selling tickets. And I think it's just a unique little venue in London because it's a nice front room where people can eat and drink, and then it has a proper separate room for bands, and it has its own sound guy, and it's kind of an official little place to play gigs, and they have great music there every night, so I just feel happy that they like to include me on their roster.
Fantastic. And I think it's the venue that gave rise to all kinds of bands, Elvis Costello, U2, Kate Bush. They've all played there early in their careers, so it's a great venue to follow. So what if people are going to come along to that gig or are thinking about coming along, tell them about the kinds of material you're playing. Is there any Moody Blues stuff? Is it your stuff? What will they hear?
I think it'll be a little bit of everything. It'll be lots and lots of my things, and then one special Moody Blues song. I'll be doing a little flutified version of it, and then I think that's probably the only Moody song, and then a few covers. And so it's just a nice combination of things, and also combinations of styles. It's kind of quirky things, slow things, some rock things. Oh yeah, one little rock surprise from the 60s that might thrill everybody. So it'll be a good mix of things.
And a lot of it's your own material,
Yes,
which
yes.
we'll come on to talk about. And just before we go back and talk about the early days of your career and how you got into music, a couple of months ago you played a great gig with John Lodge of the Moody Blues in London, Union Chapel. Tell us about that. How was that?
That was great in that it was just great seeing John again. It's been so long. We have COVID and all the other things that have passed since I've seen any of those guys. And it was great seeing Alan Hewitt and Billy, the drummer, Billy Ashbow. And just a wonderful, reunion. And the Union Chapel in London is a beautiful venue. It's a very, very old chapel. And it's just a thrill to play there. They are also a very great showcase for a lot of people, a lot of important people that like to come to London and play there. So I had a great time with John.
And John is always a perfect gent, isn't he? And,
always
Emily always makes us very welcome. And, of course, John Davidson.
Yeah, John Davidson.
Who sings great with the band. So, yeah, it was a wonderful evening. So let's go back early days. So you are one of 6 kids.
Yes.
5 other siblings. Tell us about your upbringing. How did you get into music? Was it a musical household?
Yes, actually it was kind of musical. My mother was a musician. She was a mandolin player and a violin player. And my aunts and one grandmother played ragtime piano, and I had an aunt that played marimba, strangely enough, and cousins and piano. There was a lot of piano playing going on and singing, and so I didn't even know it at the time, but that was pretty much probably really influencing me. And then I just started music in school and just fell in love immediately with the flute, and it went from there.
What is it about the flute? I mean, that is your instrument.
Yeah.
Everyone identifies you with the flute. What particularly? Why not guitar, keyboards, drums?
I don't know, really. I don't know the answer to that. I just think 2 of my older sisters had played it before, so I kind of had picked it up from them and just played around on it, but didn't know what I was doing. And but I think I don't really know why I took to the flute, or it took to me, but it was just never a doubt. Once I started, just never a doubt that that's what I wanted to do. Kind of crazy.
It's with you for life, I would
for life,
suggest.
kind of a curse, but very much a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kind of music, if we went back to the late 60s, early 70s and the Mullen household, what would you and your siblings be playing?
That was a great time because it was just having 5 older siblings at that time, and they were in their teenage years, and my brother was approaching college, and a lot of guys were going to Vietnam, a lot of my brother's friends, and it was all about the Vietnam War. So a lot of the music was from that time, and it just reflected the feeling in America about just fighting for not being in a war that we didn't want to be in. So a lot of great music came out of that time. And then also, of course, we were influenced by England and all the English lovely rock and roll gents from England. America loves that stuff. We're a sucker for that. So in our household, we had the Rolling Stones and the Moody Blues and the Beatles and not so much the Who, even though I heard them. We had a great radio stations in my little southern town. It was crazy how up to date the radio stations were. So we had just great music, and it was just a central part of our life, the music that was on the radio and on the albums that you bought, and you'd join a record album club, and I did, and bought, well, later on, a few years later, I bought Cat Stevens, Black Sabbath, and one other, James Taylor maybe, Mudslide Slim, but that was more in the kind of early 70s, I guess. Yeah, but it was just a wonderful part of my life, music, always on.
This is a great musical era for all our generation. Sure. And I think you tell a story, and I just want to check if it's mythology or true, about you hearing Nights of White Satin being played at a party.
Yeah.
So, I think it was Maureen.
Yes, it was.
Lovely Maureen playing at a party, and you hearing it because you were unable to join the party.
Yeah,
can you tell us that story?
Yeah, I was a little bit young to go to the party, and the party was in the other room, in the big living room of our house. So I was just banished to my parents' bedroom, which was just near the living room. And so I had all the doors closed, and I had my flute with me in that room. And Maureen kept playing at her party. She was playing Days of Future Past. So what year was that?
So it was released 67, but it was re-released in 72. 2. So I suspect it may have been when you were 12.
Could have been that. Could have been when I was 12, yes. And I'd never played by ear on the flute. I had only learned to read music. So I heard this song that kept playing and playing, and it was the solo from Nights. And I was so bored because I couldn't go to the party, and she didn't want me there because I was 10 or 12. And so I just sat and figured it out by ear on that, on that night, and it saved me.
And who'd believe, all those years later, you are touring the world with that band, playing that solo. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you?
Yeah, a big circle of life.
Fantastic. Well, we'll come on to talk about the Moody's, obviously, a bit later. So, were you studying flute, at school, college? I mean, how did you progress?
I got into it very much in my school band, actually, in Mississippi. And then I had a teacher who thought I was very good, and very into it. So she sent me out to Mississippi State University when I was about 13 to have lessons with the flute professor there. So I kind of went outside of my little high school or junior high and started taking it at college level. And that was really important and really helped me a lot. Then I went to a place called Interlochen in Michigan for 4 summers in a row. And it's an 8-week program for just kids from all over the world. Very competitive, very, very focused on classical performance and playing in orchestras and solos and a lot of competition. And so I loved it. I loved the 8 weeks every summer. I practiced 8 hours a day. It was fantastic. It was just in the woods of Michigan, and you'd just always hear instruments 24 hours a day practicing. And that really made me a flute player in the classical vein. And then I went on to, did you ask further, university?
Well, so what kind of age were you?
Well, at Interlochen, I was 14 through 17 in the summers.
Yeah.
And then I went at 18, I went to Northwestern University and was a flute performance major at Northwestern. And that was my very intense education that I had for many, many years on the flute.
So tell me, did you think you would earn your living playing the flute, or was it just so much your passion that you weren't really thinking about, a career? You were just wanted to play? Yeah,
I think the passion came first. And then and then at first I wanted to be in an orchestra. I wanted to be an orchestral player. And so I just then set about to go on the road to accomplishing that by knowing what to do, by studying at a university with a professional flutist that you admire, and then learning the whole repertoire of the classical flute world of orchestral playing. So that's what I did, and I went through all that. And then, because with the eye on being in an orchestra, and then, it never occurred to me that it was a bad idea to play the flute for a profession, because I just didn't think about that. I just had to play the flute, So then, but then I started getting tired of being in orchestras right at the end of all this, in my years at Interlochen and then my 4 years at Northwestern, and I just wanted to play music, but I'm not sure I wanted it to be in such a strict surrounding as orchestra, even though I loved it in orchestras. So in Chicago, where I went to Northwestern, I started doing studio work, like TV commercials on the flute. And that was fun and more exciting for me, kind of not sitting in a room or a orchestra of 100 people, but more just you're the one that they need. And that jived with my style. So I love that studio work. And then I moved to LA, and the same thing. I started doing studio work. So that made me not really want to be in an orchestra anymore. I don't know. I'd just kind of done that. And it's very competitive. It's very, very frightening and wonderful. But, I wanted to do many other things.
So let's go back to Chicago.
Yes.
So I think I'm right in saying you moved to Chicago and you started playing with your early days in bands?
Yes, well, I was at university in Chicago, and then I stayed in Chicago, and that's when I started. So I wanted to rebel against my orchestral training and started playing kind of underground Chicago bands of our original music. It was called Cause for Passion at first, and it was me and a guy, and then 2 other people. It would mainly be me and this person, Joe Pusateri, and it was he and I. It was him and me, or whatever, for the whole time. But other people would come and go. And but the first rendition of that band was Cause for Passion, and then we changed it to, then that was all in Chicago till we went to LA.
And what kind of, Joe, of course, we still know Joe, a great musician in his own right.
Yes.
What kind of music was Cause for Passion? Could you put a label on it?
Sometimes they tried to call it something when we were in Chicago, and they called it funky acid pop. But,
Okay.
it's very hard to describe. Kind of quirky and just multi-layered, I would think. And Joe's also classically trained, so it had a bit of our classical edge to it. It wasn't just purely a rock band. It was more deep than that in a way, musically. So that was probably why I enjoyed it so much.
And were you were a multi-instrumentalist
Yes.
by then, I think I'm right. What were you playing apart from flute?
Well, in the band, I was playing, very little flute, actually. It was kind of funny. I was really rebelling, but I was playing marimba and then percussion and I think singing, and I think that's that's about all.
Bass guitar, were you
No, not
playing
bass
there?
yet. I started
No.
with bass a little later.
Right.
And then I joined, then the band, we used me on bass, but not in the Chicago years. It
Yeah.
was more in LA.
And then a bit later, I think we're talking 90s, late 80s, early 90s,
Yeah.
am I right? You moved to LA.
Yes, 87, I think. I moved to
87.
LA. Yeah.
And what did that mean for you musically going to LA? Because obviously it's,
Crazy.
it's at the cutting edge,
It's
isn't it?
really hard, LA. It's the same thing. I just had to do it again, start all over, try to get into playing commercials or studio just sessions where you just go in, sight read, you're out in 30 minutes and you make money and it's great. And then you might hear yourself on TV the next night, of all these things I did. So that was really fun. And then I was also teaching in LA, teaching music to kids all over LA. And two of my students' parents, it was Randy Newman of the film composer ilk, and I met him, and I guess he heard me play throughout all that time because I was teaching his daughter the flute. And then I just kept bugging him and telling him he needs to use me in the movies. And I said it for years, and he did never do anything. And then one day I just got a call to play my first movie, I think was Toy Story 2. So he had done the first one, but I didn't really know him at that time. And then that's when it started, where I started getting to do a lot of movie work. And that was wonderful because that was being in that orchestra that I always wanted to be, but it was just a one-time job where you do maybe 5. I did the Jurassic Parks and Matrixes and stuff, and that was usually like 5 full days of recording all day, sight reading and recording, and it was just a dream for me.
And people can still hear you,
You
to
can
this
still hear
day,
me. Yes,
playing
yes.
flute, piccolo
Yes.
on those soundtracks.
But that was a hard, also a very competitive room, the orchestras, but that's probably not surprising.
I won't ask you how you double track over a dinosaur, but anyway.
You sound terrified on the piccolo. That's what you do.
Fantastic. And I think just around this time, you'd formed another band with Joe Terry
Yes.
Bar Who Rang.
Yes.
Tell us about that
Which
band.
actually, we went to LA then and decided to change the name from Cause to Passion, because it was too kind of syrupy, to Evil Twin. And that was crazy, and I don't know why we came up with that. I don't know. It was just some reason, but... And it was our name for a while, but that didn't match our music, because that sounded kind of harsh for what our music was. So then we changed the name to Bahurang, which is an Eastern Indian word that I believe means many colors, or something along those lines. I don't know if that's completely accurate, but Bahurang.
And you did a lot of gigging around
Yes.
LA, and you had some pretty famous
Yes.
followers, I think.
We had some a good following, and we had some famous followers because we used to put these papers on the table to have people fill out their name on our address list to mail flyers out, so they'd come to our gigs. So we put the little name things out, and they'd fill it out, and it was Will Smith from Fresh Prince.
The Will Smith.
Yes, he loved our band.
Fantastic.
That was just one of many famous followers. We were good.
And I love the one album you
Thank you.
made,
Just
Try to Walk, which
Yes.
we hope we're going to re-release with some unreleased songs. I mean, it really was, I can say this as a fan, it really was groundbreaking stuff.
Yes,
I mean, why did you guys not get a label and really make it? Why?
I think we were a little ahead of our time, and I think record labels often just want to go with what's already there. Whitney Houston was at the time. I remember them saying, "Oh, you'd be great with a Whitney Houston type singer. It's all you need to add to this very quirky music," which just didn't fit at all. So we just thought, they don't get us, they don't get us, and they didn't get us, and then they never got us, but we get us.
And for people who have not heard that album, because it's out of print, and so we are trying to get it re-released.
Very good album.
It's I would describe it as kind of a bit Talking Heads, a bit XTC. That kind of style. Is that a fair description?
I agree. And again, quirky, funky and quirky.
Yeah.
Acid pop.
Acid pop. So, you were great friends with Randy, still are.
Yes.
They were a great friend to have, and he was a great mentor and supporter.
Yeah.
And I think I'm right in saying in this period, 1996, you had your first introduction to working with the Moody's.
Yes.
Because you
96.
somehow got a solo tour with Justin Hayward.
Yes.
How did that come about?
I was playing a show called Bugs Bunny on Broadway on piccolo, and I think that what happened was Justin was looking for a flute player who could play but looked the part of a rock and roller. And so he put the word out he called a few contractors, and one contractor said, I've got the perfect name for you. And what I heard, this could be a rumor, but I like it. Justin said, give me 20 names. And the guy said, this is the only name you're going to need. So I got a call from Justin, do you want to do my solo tour?
Did you know who Justin Hayward was?
Did I know?
Honestly,
well, I mean, of course I knew the song. I'm not sure if I was too clear on their names.
Yeah.
But
You knew the band.
I knew the music.
Yeah.
I knew the music.
And so Justin rings you and just said,
He said, oh, it's Justin Hayward. And I said, oh, hello. It was, but I knew he had written Nights on White Satin, so it was quite unnerving. Anyway, yes, and he said, the solo, you think you could do the solo? He said, I don't mean to make you nervous, but there's some funny flats and sharps in the solo. And I said, no offense, but I figured it out when I was about 10 or 12 years old. So
that's a great answer.
Yeah, well, it was just true, it was the truth. And then I think he laughed. And it was just like putting on a shoe that fit perfectly, because I had played it so many times and heard it so many times in my life.
So you joined, I think it was when Justin was touring the View from the Hill album around then, 96. And so Gordy was in Justin's
Gordy
band.
and Paul Bliss.
Gordy and Paul, yeah.
Yes. And that was great, because that's when I met them. And who knew that, 6 years later, I'd be on the road with them.
Yeah.
So that was always wonderful, that I met them before the whole Moody's thing. That was
Mickey Fiat on bass.
Yes, that's right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And look, this is really an English-European band, and you're this young lady from LA. How did that work for you? Because the Moody's are a very English band, aren't they?
Oh, how did what work? Working with them or working with Justin?
Well, working with him on the solo tour.
It was all amazing, and it just didn't matter to me that they're English. Because like I said, I'd heard the music so much in my life. It was in my system. It was just so, like I am with the Rolling Stones or any of that music of that time, any Beatles, anything. It's in my system, because I've just heard it so many times. So it was just amazing, actually, because I just couldn't believe that I was doing it. And every night I felt that, no matter what year it was. I did, 16 years or something, 18, maybe 16. I couldn't believe my luck every single night. Every night I looked up and said, thank you.
But I mean, this was just short tour. With Justin doing solo, before the Moody's.
Yes, but that was enough. I could have died.
It was a taster, yeah. And do you know how many shows you played with Justin?
I think 2. I did one in San Juan Capistrano and one in LA at the House of Blues.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Amazing. And so then you go back to doing your teaching and film music. And you're too modest to say it, but I'm going to invite you to say it. You taught the children of some amazing people
I did.
in LA, because I remember going to a couple of their houses with you, and they are real people.
Yeah.
Just tell us a few of the people
you
taught.
I hate to talk about that.
I'm giving you permission to do it.
Well, they just made a smart choice in a music teacher. No, but it was people, because they all know each other. So, I mean, it's more like a word of mouth thing that I was in. Yeah. So they trusted me, I guess. And so, people like Danny DeVito and Meg Ryan and, like I said, Randy Newman and Dennis Quaid and Tom Hanks and Courtney Cox.
So you be going to their... I know this because I went with you. You go to their houses and teach.
Yes.
There must have been some numbers for some security gates involved.
Yeah, I know several security gates, and it's all good. I might write a book one day, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, amazing. So you've gone back to teaching. You're teaching, these children of very famous people
Yes,
in LA.
life I have.
You were doing the film music
Yes.
with Randy, and then out of the blue, I think it's fair to say, you're back with Justin, but this time with the Moodies. So again, so many versions of this story.
Oh, I know what happened.
I would like to hear it from you. How did you get the call? How did you end up in the band?
Well, I know, starting from when I got the page, it was a page. I had a pager. But it was before that, I don't know what happened. Everybody tries to take credit for it, to call me. But anyway, what I heard was on this one Monday, I was in a bad mood. Then I got this page on my pager, and it was an 818 area code, and that's the Valley in LA. So I thought, who is this? And I called this number.
This is 2002.
2002, towards the end of 2002. And so it was Bernie Barlow.
Oh, dear Bernie. Dear
Me.
Bernie.
And Bernie's so cute. She goes, "Oh, hello, I'm Bernie Barlow. Would you like to go on tour with the Moody Blues in about a month?" And I said, "What?" Let me think.
I'm going to ask Bernie what she thinks of that impression of her Anglo-American accent.
Not very good.
It was still a good friend of ours,
Yes.
Bernie,
Yes.
these days. So what did you think?
So I said, "Yes, of course." And she said, "Okay, someone will call you." And then I didn't hear. And so that was really very scary, because I thought, my spirits were so high, so lifted. And then all of a sudden I wasn't hearing anything. And I think what was happening is Justin was trying to convince John and Graham to have me, a girl. Who knows?
Because going on behind the scenes, although the public and the fans didn't know it, Ray Thomas had decided to retire from the band.
Right.
So they were seeking another flute player.
That's right. They were seeking another flute player.
So this is probably about...
And I didn't know any of this.
December 22, January 23... Sorry, 2002, January 2003.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. No, actually, I think it was right in the beginning of 2003, January.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Ray again went on to be a great friend of ours.
Absolutely.
Until his passing, and Lee as well. So, what you thought may have been a one-off thing with Justin now becomes... And did you think it was an invitation just to join the tour? Did you think it might be a long-term thing, or you...
Oh, I had no idea.
You were just...
I just know I was doing this tour coming up. And I remember enjoying it so much and learning the parts. I learned everything. How
did you learn it?
Well, see, once they did decide to use me, I think it took a while, but finally they did decide, and boom, it was like the floodgates came on. I started receiving all these CDs in my mailbox of Ray's microphone on stage over the years, his performance. So it was great because I had him singled out, and I could hear the background, the Moody's going on, but I think every night you're recorded, obviously, for the show. So I just got Ray's mic and just had to drive. I was driving all over LA.
That
to all the
beautiful Welsh baritone.
The best. But, this is fantastic. So I was driving all over LA teaching all the rich people's kids, the famous people, and learning to be Ray Thomas. And I just longed for the day that I could not have to do that anymore, because I listened to those songs, probably 12 hours every single day, till I went to my first rehearsal.
So presumably at some point you turn up in rehearsal. Can you remember where that was?
Yeah, that was Philadelphia. 5 days in Philadelphia. It was great.
Wow.
It was great. And I knew everything. I mean, hate to brag.
And what was it like entering the room with, Justin, who you knew, John, who you didn't know, presumably.
No, exactly.
Graham. You knew Gordy.
I knew Gordy and Paul, and I was glad I knew Gordy and Paul, because they were my allies, because I'd met them, on our two little shows in California before. So it was terrifying, because I think we met in the lobby of the Four Seasons to go to this rehearsal. So we were staying across the street. This Bernie, Paul, and Gordy and myself were across the street. So we went and waited in the lobby, and that's when I met Graham and John and their wives. And
wow.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
Talk
now
about
that I think about it.
Talk about an induction.
Yeah, I mean, it was, that's for sure. And then it was just...
So it was Amanda and Kirsten were there.
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
That's right. And we all got in a van to go to my first rehearsal, and it was terrifying. I was so excited. On a break, I went to the bathroom and dropped my in-ear monitors in the toilet.
But it's amazing how these stories crisscross, isn't it? Because I was reading an article about the terrible fires in the Palisades.
Yes.
And I was reading an article about Donna Arkoff.
Yeah.
And Donna Arkoff was Mike Pinder's first wife, and you knew her.
Yes, I knew her.
You met her through teaching?
I met her through teaching. I was at her house a few years. Every week I'd see her. And she was married to, at the time, the head of Disney. And I just don't remember.
After Mike, obviously.
After Mike, yeah. And I don't remember his name. And I feel...
Wow.
Wait, Donna Roth was her name when I met her.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's Joe Roth, that's right. And so this was in the 80s, late 80s or early 90s. I think early 90s.
So did she know you joined to play with the Moodies?
So at the time that I was getting to know her, and I really, really liked her, and we'd talk hours every week. I'd go into her kitchen, and we'd just, wow, it was great. And then her daughter went away or didn't want to play anymore or whatever, and then I stopped going there, but I knew them very well. And then, no, I didn't get the call from the Moody's or anything till probably a decade later, or maybe 8 years later.
Small world.
Small world.
So you're joining, and people now, probably the Moody's are, from a time before for a lot of younger people, but we need to remember the Moody's were and still are to a degree a huge band, particularly in America.
Yes, that's right.
It always amazed me. You could go anywhere and say the Moody Blues, and everyone knew them.
Yes.
So you are going to play live with this venerable rock band, taking the place of one of the original members.
Didn't really dawn on me how.
So what was the first show like?
It wasn't good for that reason. I didn't realize that. That I just didn't know. I'm just a musician. I didn't know. I didn't know that it was going to be like it was. They weren't happy, I think.
Some of the fans weren't happy.
Some fans weren't happy, and I got some pretty bad things, like, the middle finger, and some people screaming, "You're not Ray, where's Ray?" and all this stuff.
Well, no moustache, that's for sure.
But it was, luckily for in-ear monitors, it kind of blocked out a lot of the stuff. I think people were screaming. But I was very solid in what I was doing because I was just used to being hired to do a job, and that's what I was doing. So it didn't really, I'd done so many things professionally, it didn't really occur to me what a meaningful thing it would be. But I get it now, of course.
Did Justin or Graham or John say anything to you after the first year? Yeah.
No, I think they kind of knew what was going on, but no, they didn't say anything much. They just...
It's their understated way.
Yeah, in their understated way.
So, 2003, and I think you go straight into helping the band record December, their Christmas album.
That's right.
Which I think was recorded in midsummer.
Yeah, right in a very hot summer in Minneapolis. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I think it was just me and John and Justin at the studio that day. That was fun, and I did the Bach piece.
In the quiet of Christmas morning.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. That was really nice.
Beautiful piece.
It's a great album.
And so then you're touring with the band, obviously in America, and then you come here.
Yes, we were going all over the place. Yeah.
And you play the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes.
And what did you think about playing the Royal Albert?
I loved it. Again, I didn't really realize the impact as I would now, because I now have lived in London for 15 years. But at the time, I knew it was great. It's like playing in the Hollywood Bowl or the Greek or anything in LA, or Radio City in New York. So it's just one of those places for London. And I certainly found, I got it the minute I walked in the door, what a beautiful place it is and how magical it is. It's a wonderful room.
And you're in the peak of touring, and you do a DVD of the Greek.
Yes.
Live at the Greek.
That's
Lovely
right.
to see you. That must have been a great evening.
Really fun. That was wonderful. And it was, warm weather, beautiful weather in LA. And, I curled my hair was growing out. I curled it, and I knew we were being filmed. There were cameras all over flying around. Did
you have friends, family?
I had so many friends there because I was still living there. So I made everybody come. No, everybody wanted to come. So there were a few famous people there, or maybe that was later at the Nokia. There were some famous people there.
And I think I'm right in saying the band came out and you started playing the wrong notes and had to go back in again.
So. Again, I didn't even notice that, but I saw Justin stop, which you never see ever. So that must have been serious. So I think but that's okay. That's what makes live music so great. But he started over because we were recording.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have minded, I don't think, if it had just been a regular show, but.
even the Moodies are human, so that's good. So you're touring with the band, and the tours carry on all over the world.
Yeah,
actually,
it was great. Yeah,
I think you've been everywhere, haven't you?
Well, everywhere except not Asia or that area, but I've been Helsinki, Finland, to Cape Town, South Africa, to everywhere.
Australia, New
Zealand. I loved Finland. Germany, and that was wonderful. Copenhagen and Denmark and Amsterdam and Germany. Germany was wonderful.
So if you had to, I don't know how many gigs you played with the Moodies. I think we tried to total it up. It's certainly more than 500. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, it certainly must be.
It's a lot of gigs.
More than 500.
Over 16 years. If you had to pick one or two, can you pick one or two gigs that are highlights? Is it the Hollywood Bowl? Is it LA? What stands out for you?
I think everything is a highlight for different reasons. I think that that the Hollywood Bowl was so special for me because at that time I was living here, I believe, right? And so I was going back, and it was kind of like a homecoming. There were a lot of my friends there because they hadn't seen me in years, and plus I love LA, and I lived in LA for 23 years, so it was just great to come back and play at the Hollywood Bowl. And many of my flute friends that had played in movies with me were in the orchestra, in the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, accompanying us. So that was really a magical night.
That was the Days of Future Past tour.
Yeah. But then again, Radio City, what a great venue, because it's Radio City. And, I watched Ed Sullivan, Ed Sullivan from when I was 4 years old on that stage where the Beatles were. So it was just
amazing.
Magical.
And again, for people who think the Moodies may be a bit passé, I remember I was there for that gig. It was one of the very best I've ever seen.
Oh, at Radio City, yes. The Jimmy Fallon.
Sorry, not that.
Sorry.
Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, yes, okay.
And there was a guy they have these funny little outdoor boxes at the Hollywood Bowl, and I had a really nice seat, and there was a guy next to me who was really enjoying it, and in the interview I said, "Oh, are you a Moody's fan?" He goes, "Yeah, they're an amazing band," and blah, blah, blah. I thought, he looks kind of familiar. And then suddenly it twigged it was Quentin Tarantino. So this kind of cutting-edge film producer was a big Moody's fan.
Well, he's a big, Moody's, and also he's got an amazing record collection of all that era of the 60s and 70s in America, that we were importing all this great rock and roll from England, and just became part of our life.
Big fan. And let's go to Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, yes.
one of the real fun things I remember doing is coming from London to hooking up with your lovely sister, Christy, and we went to watch you record on the Jimmy Fallon show.
Yes.
That was your wildest dreams, I think.
Yes.
That must have been fun.
That was great. That was wonderful. Just because I love that. It's always fun to do things that are different, like TV. The whole rules are different, and it's not like a live show, so that was exciting. And I just loved being in that theater. That CBS, I believe, is that right? I don't know. NBC.
I think so. The memory's a bit blurred. It was about 12 years ago now. But my memory is you dancing to the house band at the end.
They were great.
What were they called? The Roots.
The Roots. They were wonderful. Yes. Yeah, they had a tuba player playing like blues music it was a fantastic band.
And then the Moody's start doing these cruises, which still carry on today. Justin doing one, John doing another. The Moody Blues cruises, I think there were 5 of them. How did you feel about them?
It was wonderful because, you definitely know you're going to have nice weather, hopefully, and we did. It was beautiful. I loved some of the stops we had in Jamaica, and all the times we would get off and just go see, places in their regular, just the way that it is, different places. So there was a different style wherever we went. And I loved doing the shows. I loved being busy, working, playing music. It's kind of a crowded boat. That's how they are. I guess sometimes I would stay in my room because needed a little rest.
Well, of course, for me, it was heaven because there were always bands that I loved and knew. And we met so many great people,
Really
didn't
good
we?
friends, yes.
The Zombies, Tom and the Zombies,
Tom
and the
Toomey.
Straubs, and
Yeah.
I mean all those guys. It was great. So you
Also, Thies van Leer.
oh yes,
Yes.
Thies van Leer of Focus.
Of flute focus fame.
Yeah, that was a great
That was
show.
great.
Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
So you're still touring with the Moody's. It's now 2017, and the band get nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And fast forward to April 2018, I think I'm right in saying, and you're there in Cleveland, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Tell us about that night, because it was pretty exhausting.
Yes, it was pretty exhausting, but also another very magical time. But yes, I think we landed. All I can say is we didn't go on stage in Cincinnati, is it, or Cleveland?
Cleveland.
Till 11 p.m. their time. I believe that's Central Time, and that's 6 hours earlier than London. So when we went on stage, it was probably 5 a.m. London time, and I had just landed the day before. So I was pretty jet lagged. It was a little strange, but it was great. We did nights, and we did singer and rock and roll band.
And it was the whole band. Denny.
So great.
Denny Lame, sadly no
yeah.
longer with us. Graham.
That's
sadly.
right, Graham.
And dear Mike Pinder.
Mike
as
Pinder,
well.
It was a great night. Yeah, it was wonderful. And they made their speeches, and they were so eloquent and British compared to Bon Jovi.
Yeah, John Bon Jovi's
John Bon
life
Jovi
story,
is-
yes. They were all very classy,
They were.
as you would expect of the Moody's. And there you are, on the stage, playing
Yeah.
at the Rock. I mean, how does
playing
that
Nights in
feel?
White Satin at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And I remember, obviously, being there and watching with our friends, Paulina and
Yeah.
her lovely husband,
George.
George. And there is you on the stage, and to your right is a huge image of Ray.
Yes.
I mean, what an
Holding the
image.
flute. We were both holding our flute, right? It was beautiful. It was just
It was
lovely.
a magical moment.
He was ever
wasn't it?
present in that, and he should be. It was just a magical time. Once again, I was pinching myself.
Yeah.
Because of it. Yeah. I always felt so lucky.
And then sadly, the band stopped
Yeah.
touring. I mean, were you told the band were stopping? Was there any?
No, actually, I wasn't. No.
It just, you didn't hear anything.
Didn't hear anything, so that was very sad. But
Yeah.
that's the way it goes, I guess. Yeah.
Well, people make their own choices
Yes.
about their careers. I'm not going to
Well, in
comment
their own
on
bands, I mean, they just wanted to do other
that.
things.
And, they've been doing it 50 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people would love to see Justin and John play together
Yeah.
again. I know that. But anyway, that's up to them. None of our business. So really, you then focusing on your solo career, and you made a great eponymous solo album, Norda, which did really quite well. When
What's eponymous mean?
Named after you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that came out 2013 and got some great reviews. I mean, you put a lot of work into
Yeah,
that,
I
didn't
did.
you?
And I was still heavily on the road with the Moody's at that time.
Yes.
So that was fun to be doing both of those things. I felt real special about that,
And then since then, you've recorded EPs,
Yeah.
singles. So there's some of the titles people who don't know: "Give It Up," "Pray for You," "Say It Anyway,"
Yes.
"Live for Today,"
Yeah.
"Down to the River." All good songs, but no new album yet.
No new album yet, but you never know. I'm working on some things.
And any new songs that we might
There's a
hear?
new song that actually Kelvin and I are co-writing, you and me, actually,
Oh, well,
my
I
interviewer.
wasn't going to take any credit.
Oh,
but-
come on.
Yeah.
It's called Lemonade.
Yeah.
So that will be premiering at my gig on September 21st at
And-
the Half Moon.
Coming full circle to the Half Moon, you've met some other. I remember us coming out of one gig, and you met another famous musician there, didn't you?
Yes,
Who was
because I
that?
do believe this is one of his favorite, I would say his local, although I don't want to give up too much
Yeah.
information, but Ralph McTell from
Oh, Streets of London fame, yeah.
Yes, exactly. He was there. It was lovely meeting him. I've met him several times at the Half Moon. Such a nice guy.
He's a lovely
guy.
A lovely man. And our dear friend, I can say, Chaz Crom.
Chaz Crom.
From the
Straubs, the bass player. Yes, he's now a good friend of ours, and he's doing some work, I think, with one of the zombies.
It's Colin Blunstone.
Yeah.
So it goes in full circle.
Yeah, and it's a small world, really, isn't it?
And, I mean, when you look back, I mean, hopefully there's a lot going forward. But when you look back, I remember you saying your ambition when you were young was to play with a major rock band.
Well, I wanted to do 2 really major things. I just said this to myself. I must have been 11, maybe 12. I said, this is because I went to a particular movie and I heard a flute player in the movie, a flute solo in the movie, and it was beautiful. And I went home right away. We were actually in Maine, and I went home right away and figured out that tune. I know the movie, but I can't remember it right now. But anyway, I just played it. I tried to play so much just like that flute player. I ended up playing with that flute player in the movies. But anyway, so that I saw that, and I came home. I said, I want to do 2 things. I want to play in the movies on the flute, and I want to be in a major rock and roll band. But it doesn't have to be my band. It just has to be really famous. And then, guess what happened?
Mission accomplished.
Those 2 things.
Mission accomplished. I mean, amazing. Yeah. And the other, we'll just finish on a bit of a funny story. The other great rock and roll flautist is, of course, Ian Anderson of Jethro Tulls. Yes. I think you met Ian.
Yes, I met him, yes.
And what did he say to you?
Well, I met him in Bremen, Germany. We were doing a 50 years of rock and roll love songs TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And he was there. I'm not even sure what they were doing. But anyway, I met him backstage. It was like, talk about being in a candy shop. The Cranberries were backstage rehearsing, and there's Ian Anderson, and there's the guy from The Cure, making sure his hair's all done the way he likes it. It was just insane, and it was a whole day of just, it was unreal. So, anyway, Justin introduced me. Justin and I were walking around, and then he said, oh, look, there's Ian Anderson, and he introduced me to Ian. And then I right away said to him, what kind of flute do you play, and what's the serial number? And Justin is like, I cannot believe you met Ian Anderson, and that's the first thing you start talking about. And then he just walked away. He said, oh, you too. So he left us to talk, and we were walking, we linked our arms, and he said, I've always wanted to play that solo from Nights in White Satin. And I said, you know what? You don't get to play the solo. It's my solo. Although that was pretty pompous.
But he did once.
He did, but that's why I was being too pompous, because I lived to eat those words.
I think it was Canterbury Cathedral.
Yes, him and Bruce Dickinson and Justin.
That's right.
Yes, there, and I thought, well, there we go. Now I've lost my gig.
But he's not been allowed near it since.
No.
Amazing.
I didn't lose my gig.
Norda, it's a great story, and I hope everyone enjoys listening to it. And I hope the gig in Putney is great. And we look forward to hearing new music from you.
Thank you. And let's repeat again where the gig and when the time.
It is. Am I doing this? It's in a Half Moon Putney. It is on Sunday, 21st September. Tickets available from ENTS24 or the Half Moon site. And there's still a few tickets. ENTS24.
Yeah.
So we hope to see some people there.
And the time of the show, Kelvin, is?
I love the way I'm doing the promotion now. 7:30.
Perfect. We look forward to seeing you all there.
Lovely to talk to you, Norda.
Thank you.